Hello and welcome to Super Fast Comic Book Reviews. I'm Jason and this is my review video where I try and do quick reviews of all my books, take about 30 seconds to a minute on each book. I say try, I don't always achieve it, but I do try and keep it as short as possible, but also informative. I will also do my pick of the week, which will be my favourite book of the week, the book I enjoyed the most. And I also do my geek out moment of the week, which will be the most shocking, the most surprising, or just the moment that really filled me with joy, or the moment that really made me sad. It's just that one moment that really impacted me in the week. But yeah, that's enough from me. Let's get now straight into the reviews because we've got a packed week. First up this week we have Justice League issue 17. And this has the conclusion, as you can see on the cover, the conclusion to Throne of Atlantis. In this book, the art is very good. I really like Ivan Reis's art. This was a particularly favourite page of mine where the Justice League show up. I really like Ivan Reis's art, but there's a part of the book where the art changes and it's quite... It took me out of the story, and Paul Papellier takes over, but I had to leave and go and look at the front of the book to see which artist was on now, because I thought this isn't Ivan Reis, and so it did take me out of the story. So I found that a bit. The bit in here with Ocean Master, when he yields to Aquaman, it seemed a bit weak. You know, last issue he was willing to let his brother die, you know, so that he could do what he had to do. Yet here. He yields really easy, and unless maybe they're going to explain it in future issues of Aquaman, maybe it's some kind of Atlantean code of battle or something, you know, I don't know. But otherwise it felt a bit easy the way he yielded after all he was willing to do before. However, like I was saying, I love Ivan Reis's art. I think he is on top form with this book, and I'm so pleased to see him getting the opportunity to do Justice League. He's been doing fantastic work on Aquaman, and it's great now that he's moving up to Justice League and drawing all these great heroes. It's also great to see the Justice League working with other heroes, like at the beginning of this story, as we have heroes like Hawkman and Black Lightning and Zatanna and Vixen all turn up to sort of help out. And so that was really cool to see. And it's great to see Aquaman being taken seriously as a hero. That was a really great moment, particularly when you think about Aquaman's book and where his character started from. At the end of this book, people are generally scared of him and like they don't treat him like a joke anymore, which I really like how that's been done over time, and I think that's a fantastic device. Overall, I enjoyed this issue, but yeah, because of like the thing with and the art, I would say I would give this one 4 stars. Next up we have Batwoman issue 17, and I gotta say that is my cover of the week. I love that cover, really great. Inside, wow, this is the conclusion to the story that's been running since issue 1, and as a conclusion it is very satisfying. It feels like at the end of the story, and in that respect it's very satisfying. It's great to see Flamebird back in action, and in this book we get to see her be accepted by her cousin who initially rejected her as a hero, so that was a great moment, and I liked how it was just part of battle, but it was a big moment, but they just sort of both played it like, oh, you know, oh, good to see you back. I'm not so too keen on the new name. She calls herself Hawkfire now instead of Flamebird. I'm not too keen on that. Maybe Firehawk might have worked, but for me I wasn't keen, but maybe that's something I'll get used to. The art as always was exceptional. J.H. Williams is such a fantastic artist, and I love looking at his work, and this was another great issue with some great art. Throughout the book there's many great moments that I could pick out, but I would be here much longer, but there are some great moments through the book, and like I say, the end is very satisfying because it feels the end. There's also a real shocking moment when Kate first runs back into Maggie, which really shocked me, in a good way though. And I like the end of this story, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Batwoman yet, and I give this book 5 stars. Hello, and now we have our review of Thor God of Thunder issue 5. And this is the conclusion to the God Butcher part of the story, but it's not a conclusion. We learn a lot more about Gore, the God Butcher, and makes him a much more well-rounded character. And I really like what they're doing with the character. He looks a very interesting villain indeed. This issue, the three timelines we've been following, they start to come together, and the story all starts to sew up. And like Jason Aaron is a master at telling these non-linear kind of stories, and once again here he does it masterfully, bringing it all together. We get to see King Thor, who's my favourite of the three Thors, and anytime we get a bit of King Thor action, I love it. I'm really interested where they're going to take this book next, because this isn't the conclusion, it's the conclusion of this part, but we've got to see what Gore has done next issue. But I've really enjoyed the heck out of this book. Esad Ribbage's art, once again, is great, and I was a bit unsure about Jason Aaron doing Thor, but he's done a fantastic job. Definitely one of the best books in the Marvel Now new range of books, and well worth checking out. I give Thor God of Thunder issue 5 stars. So next up we have X Factor issue 252. Question: what happens when you give somebody with the talent of Peter David his own corner of the Marvel Universe to just play and get on with what he wants to do? Answer: and you end up with the awesome book that is X Factor. So Peter David's got his own little sandpit. You've got like basically B-list characters. Polaris and Multiple Man are probably the biggest characters in this book. And then, so he can pretty much do anything with the characters. Nobody's over his shoulder saying, you can't do that, you can't do that. Nobody's interfering. He gets to tell the tales he wants to tell. And as such, he has this fantastic freedom. And we're gaining from it, because he's producing fantastic, exciting stories. The way they've put the situation in this story, it feels so massive for X Factor to deal with. But this issue, we get a nice little twist in the tale, which I didn't see coming. It's great seeing the team battle up against Pluto, getting their asses kicked, and then we get the twist, which was brilliant. I'm just enjoying the hell out of this book, and it's well worth checking out if you've not been reading it. Peter David is such a great writer; you'll pick up the story, but but you will be inspired to go back and read earlier issues. But it's just a great book. What it deserves to be checked out a lot more than it is, and as always, as it seems to be every month, I give X Factor 5 stars. Daredevil issue number 23 next, and this is just another great issue. The last page gets my Geek Out moment of the week, and when you think Geek Out moment of the week, you think, oh, it's that moment that really shocks you, or that you're like, oh yeah, the hero makes a shocking return, or something really exciting happens. But it can be that moment that really affects you and that stays with you. And the last page in this was beautifully done. Foggy last issue found out he may have cancer, and he gets his test results back on the last page here. And the way that it's played, it's like 7 panels on a page, and you don't get no words, and there's 2 words on the penultimate panel, but the way that it's done is just beautiful. It's so striking and so effective and so emotional, and it's just a real work of art, and just shows how effective this medium can be at conveying emotions. And I don't care how many words, you couldn't have made that page any more effective than they made it. So the last page is my Geek Out moment of the week. The rest of the issue is great as always. You've got real emotion in this book, but it's still a fun read, and that's a fantastic thing that Mark Waid manages to pull off with this issue. As always, it's a perfect jumping on point. Mark Waid's such a great writer that every issue you can jump in, because he sets the story up so well, you can follow it easy. I also really love the colouring on this comic. Sam Neill's art, as always, is brilliant, but the colouring, I like the way they have the background are all really dark. So when Daredevil was in his outfit, it's really vibrant and it really stands out. And in this issue, he goes up against guys in these orange jumpsuits, and you know their battles really stand out against the darker backgrounds, and it's really striking and works really well. And yeah, as always, as I do every month, Daredevil gets 5 stars. Right, next up we have Avengers issue number 6, and this issue we learn a little bit more about Captain Universe. The deeper I get into this book, the more I love it. Hickman is just, you know, he's got a long-term plan, and that he's just setting it up so well and pulling you in. The characterizations in this issue I really liked. The interaction between the characters I liked Adam Kubert's art. I thought that first issue he done, issue 4, it was a bit ropey, but the issue since he's done really strong work. I didn't quite like how he drew Shang-Chi. I felt he wasn't Asian looking enough. If I can say, I don't mean that in an offensive way. I mean that, like, if this had been in black and white, I wouldn't have known what nationality Shang-Chi was. And, you know, that's part of his character, and so I should be able to, I felt the way he drew him, and it's only because, like, Adam Kubert's a great artist that you'd pull him up on things like that. If it was me drawing, then you'd be lucky. You know, if he looked like anything, if he looked like anybody, because I'm not the greatest drawer, but these guys, we hold them up to a higher standard, so as such we call them on these things. But other than that, I'm really enjoying this book, and it's really setting things up good. I liked the character that they got, this Night Mask, and that he's got his own language, and we got the decoder in the back, which I love stuff like that. So I am going to go through the issue later. Look, we have the decoder in the back for his language, and so I'm going to go and translate all his talk later on. I love stuff like that. I'm really enjoying this book, and I give Avengers issue 6 5 stars. So it is my pick of the week, Justice League of America issue 1. I didn't really know what to expect from this, but this rocked my socks off. It is a perfect first issue. It introduces the characters perfectly. The fact they don't have no backup story in this, that they have no backup story in this. It's just the one main story, introducing the characters, showing you why they're picking each character to be on the team, showing you why each character would agree to be on the team. I just really loved the whole setup and the way that they'd done the issue, and then sort of topped and tailed with this Dark Hunter, and we get his identity revealed at the end, which is brilliant, and I just really enjoyed it, the heck out of this book. I really recommend checking it out, and I give Justice League of America my pick of the week, 5 stars. So here is Captain Marvel issue 10, and you know this issue was another great issue. The art last time, I liked the art, but it was very kind of like abstract kind of style, and with the eyes really far apart, that I didn't quite care for. It didn't bother me as much this issue. I'm really getting used to it, and I'm hoping they're going to keep the artist on the book for a bit, because I like his figure drawing and his action drawing and how he conveys emotion. But it was just that abstractness that I initially didn't like. But it wasn't that he was doing anything wrong. It was just that it wasn't a style that I liked. It was more a personal preference rather than that he's not a good artist. But I'm getting used to it now, and I must admit it didn't bother me as much this issue. And overall, I do really like his art. There's great emotion in this book. You know, Carol's dealing with that. She's got this brain lesion and she can't fly, or she's been told not to fly. And how she deals with it, it's a very emotional book, but at the same time, the way the characters are in the story, it also feels very real, and that's fantastic writing by Kelly Sue DeConnick. I'm loving how she writes this character, and the emotions in this book feel so real, and I'm just really enjoying the heck out of this. There's things happening that you don't expect to see happening, and it's just a really great read, and another book that deserves your support. And I give Captain Marvel issue 10 5 stars. Next up is Indestructible Hulk issue 4. This is another book where the art was a bit of a problem with the first few issues, and again with this one I don't know if it's because I'm getting used to the art or the art has improved. I can't quite put my finger on it, but the art didn't bother me so much in this issue. I quite enjoyed it. The end fell flat, mainly because we saw that ending a few weeks ago, probably a month ago now, in Justice League, and I know that that's just coincidence that happens, but when you have two books that come out near each other and the endings are similar, it kind of takes a little bit of the tension away. I really like the relationship in this issue between Hulk and Banner, and Hulk and Maria Hill. And that Hill is really, they're both kind of vying for control of this situation and of each other. You know, Banner always likes to be in control of his own destiny, and Maria Hill, she's in charge of the Shield, and she's used to being the head one and being in charge. And so I liked that dynamic and how it sort of plays out, and I'm looking forward to how that plays out in future issues. I love Bannerville. I thought that was great, and I love how they're playing up the scientist half of Bruce Banner. I really like that they're playing up the whole science part, and it feels very much like this is a book that if you enjoyed Avengers and the version of the Hulk in Avengers, you would enjoy that book. But at the same time, the way he's got his schemes and plans, it's still the old Bruce Banner that we all know and love from reading the comic books. But yeah, once again, I enjoyed this issue. But like I said, the end did fall flat, so I'd give it 4 stars. And finally this week we have the Superior Spider-Man issue 4. Another really good issue. The first 3 issues I all give 5 stars, and I didn't think I'd enjoy this series as much as I have. You know, I was a bit disappointed with issue 700, but since issue 1 of this, I've really enjoyed it, and I've really liked what Dan Slott is doing with the character. I'm loving Dr. Octopus as Spider-Man. I'm loving to seeing the differences, how he's making that more scientific approach, and you know, in some ways is a more efficient Spider-Man than Peter was. Also, I love that mad scientist element, having his own robot and stuff like that was really good. I really like, you know, that there's moments in the story where he forgets that he's Peter Parker and he reacts to things just as Octavius would, because that's who he is. And then there's other times where he keeps up the act, and I'm liking seeing that. And you've got to think that it's over time it's going to get harder and harder as he gets more relaxed being in Peter's body, to keep that pretense up. I felt the Peter Parker ghost in this issue was used just enough, that you gave Dr. Octopus moments to shine, while at the same time still showing us that planting the seeds for the future, as Dr. Octopus is starting to be able to hear that Peter ghost, so you can see the times coming when he'll be able to take back control. The story in this one is fast paced and action packed, and I'm just really enjoying it. Loads happens in this one, loads more than you could ever sit down and share. It's just amazing how much they pack into here. But I'm really enjoying this ride at the moment, and I've got to give, just like its predecessors, I give Superior Spider-Man issue 4 5 stars. So that was my review video for this week. Next week should be a much shorter video because I've only got 6 books next week, so that should be a lot quicker. Thank you everybody for the feedback I've been getting and all the new subscribers I've been getting over the last week as well. Thank you very much to Sleepy Reader who gave me a shout out on his video, much appreciated. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up button, let me know you like what I'm doing, or even give me some comments down below if you have an opinion on any particular book. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, somewhere around here there should be a subscribe button. If you liked this video, click that button and you'll get to know whenever I upload a new video, so you don't have to go searching for it. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again next week. Bye for now.